Here's a topic that I find very disturbing. Over in the UK, Scotland to be exact, there's this YouTuber named Count Dankula. He and his girlfriend owned a pug, and his girlfriend thought that the pug was the most glorious thing in the world and it could never do any wrong. So, in order to play a joke on her and to prove to her that the pug wasn't, where the sun set and rose every day, he was going to turn the dog into something, the worst thing he could possibly think of, which was a Nazi. So he proceeded to teach the dog to stand up and pay attention to him every time he mentioned the keyword Jews. And anytime he said, gas the Jews or Jews, the dog would turn around and look at him, and the dog would wake up and look at him. And then he taught the dog how to raise its little paw whenever he says Zig Heil, and he captures the dog sitting up next to the computer looking at the monitor while there's a video of Hitler playing in the background giving a speech. And then he posts this video. Now he posts it and he thinks, he's going to get a couple laughs out of his friends and his girlfriend. His girlfriend, which is Jewish. But no, the SJWs, the little bitch snowflakes of the world, unite and start screaming and hollering, and it winds up going viral. Now, when I first saw this video, I thought, oh Lord, is he going to catch hell for saying that sort of thing? That is very offensive. And then I snickered and laughed because of the absurdity of a pug being a Nazi. And I can see the joke in it. Now, when it goes viral, the UK and Scotland, they get together and they're all pissed off because they feel embarrassed that they have Nazis in their midst. So they go and they arrest the guy under the Communications Act of 2003 in the UK. They arrest him and they schedule him for court. When his court date comes, he doesn't get called. He has to go back home. They reschedule a couple weeks later. He goes back. They don't call him. He goes. They schedule it a month later. They don't call him. He goes back. And they do this rescheduling thing uh, for about 2 years, two and some odd change. Now, courts do this in order to get you to plead guilty because they feel like if they harass your life enough that you will go ahead and plead guilty and you will get the entire thing over with and you won't, drag it out and go to trial. So they keep making you come back and come back and come back, in the hopes that you'll lose your job, which, no employer in the world is going to allow you to go to court every month or multiple times a month and miss work at least 12 days a year just for court, not to mention if you're ever sick or anything like that. So, it's going to be very disruptive to your life. And this guy posted a joke video. He even said it was a joke video at the very beginning. And the way he carried it out, you could tell it was a joke. Was it, in great taste? No. But it was supposed to be between him and his friends, and it was a joke. And, plain and simply put, nothing should be off limits when it comes to joking around and free speech. And that's exactly what this is about. It's about free speech. Now, they just found the guy guilty. He actually went to court and they found him guilty. And they found him guilty of being grossly offensive. Just let that sink in, guys. Grossly offensive. That means you can tell a joke. You can say something. You can make a video. And if somebody finds that very offensive, guess what? You go to jail. Now, all the SJWs are out there, celebrating, thinking this is a victory. But what I'd like to tell you is this is a really, really horrible road to go down. The pendulum swings both ways, people. What happens when you lose control? When another party steps in and takes control, and then they start finding all the things that you did offensive. They don't like the fact that you go to colleges in March, and they don't like the fact that you go to rallies. They don't like the fact that you have parades. They don't like the fact of you being. And so they make your very existence illegal. You think it's too far-fetched? I say it's right around the corner. Because these tit for tats, this is where it leads. When you don't have discussions, when you don't have uh, open dialogue, and you don't work your way through these sorts of things, what happens is you start getting a punch for a punch. It's not where we want to be. You have to stop opposing everything that you disagree with everything in your being. I mean, what's next? Virtue police? Are we going to be under Sharia law next? Because I realize that they're snuggling up to the Muslims. Any marginalized group just so you can get votes and stay in power. That's the Democratic way. I mean, Jesus Christ, people, what the hell are you thinking? This is insanity. You've arrested and convicted someone of being grossly fucking offensive. What the hell? I never thought I'd see that in the Western world in my entire life. This is something you see in a communistic society. This is something you see in a dictatorship. This is something that you see in a very, very repressive society. And what's sad is the SJW crowd is all right with this. They're all okay with this. No one's speaking out except for, get this, his Jewish girlfriend, because he's such a racist, is standing by him. One of the top Jewish comedians in Britain spoke up for him at the trial. Just a couple celebrities has spoken out for him. But for the most part, he's been basically on his own. Besides some conservative speakers on the internet. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I suggest to everyone that hears this, everyone who gets pissed off by this, everyone who is scared by the prospect of where this will lead, you need to call those people in Great Britain. You need to call the UK. You need to call Scotland. You need to call that police station. You need to call the judge. You need to call whoever you need to call and just let them know that this is bullshit. If you're in the United States, you need to call your local representative and let them know about this and just say, hey, this is bullshit. We need to make people aware of it before it happens here, because I guarantee you it's going to happen in California first. Some of those people over in California have lost their ever-loving fucking minds. Remember what Edmund Burke once said? All that's necessary for evil to triumph, or in our case, idiocracy, is that good men do nothing. And if you stand by and do nothing, you are complicit and you are allowing it to happen. We need to stop being silent. The consequences are too high now. Stop allowing this craziness to go on. Speak up. If you disagree with what's going on, if you disagree with the policies that are being set by the few, you need to speak up. You need to say something. If your friends are talking about this and you disagree with it and they sound iffy, you need to say, hey, I disagree with it. Take the flack. Because what happens when you say, I disagree with it? You allow someone else to say, I disagree with it. You tell someone else, hey, it's okay for me to disagree too. And then all of a sudden people stop being silent. The reason this is all happening is because people are silent. Good people are silent. They always think someone else is going to deal with it. You need to deal with it. As Thomas Jefferson said, a people get the government that they deserve. Your silence makes you deserve a horrible government. Your lack of participation makes you deserve a horrible government. Stop being pressured into believing something or condoning something you don't condone. Stand up, man. Stand up.
And remember, if you like this, please click subscribe and click on notifications so you don't miss future videos. If you really like this, help support our efforts through the Maker Support or Patreon links below.